This is a true story, documented by various historical sources from antiquity, including Roman and Egyptian chroniclers. The events surrounding the life of Caesarion, son of Cleopatra and possibly Julius Caesar, are among the most fascinating and tragic of ancient Rome, reflecting the tensions and intrigues that shaped the fate of two of history's greatest empires. Caesarion's life tells a story of the price of being born under the weight of an imperial legacy in a world where political intrigues and unrestrained ambitions dictated the destiny of the powerful. As the son of Cleopatra and possibly Julius Caesar, his name carried the promise of uniting two empires, but also the burden of being seen as a mortal threat. As a young prince in the opulent palace of Alexandria, surrounded by gold's gleam and the scent of eastern spices, Caesarion seemed destined for greatness. However, the tumultuous streets of Rome, echoing with the clamor of swords and the voices of conspirators, heralded a dark fate for the last heir of two dynasties. Although Caesarion is often relegated to a footnote in history, his life reveals a narrative of its own, filled with ambition, sacrifice, and twists that marked the end of an era. During the turbulent transition from Ptolemaic Egypt to Roman rule, his very existence posed a threat to Octavian's power, the future Augustus. Among golden crowns and treacherous daggers, Caesarion lived not only as a prince, but as a symbol of a past that needed to be erased for a new world order to emerge. Caesarion was a young prince destined to bear the weight of two powerful legacies: Egypt's millennia-old heritage and the name of Julius Caesar, Rome's most influential figure. As Cleopatra's son, a determined queen and brilliant strategist, he was raised with the promise of ruling with wisdom and strength, prepared by scholars and philosophers to ascend a throne that symbolized both the glory and fragility of a decaying empire. But his birth brought not just hope, it also brought danger. The assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE changed everything. Without the protection of the man who could have secured his place, Caesarion and his mother were left at the mercy of a ruthless political game where alliances were forged and broken through blood and betrayal. While Alexandria still dazzled with the splendor of its temples and palaces, Rome became a stage for fierce ambitions. Cleopatra, obsessed with ensuring her son's future, allied herself with Mark Antony, a powerful general vulnerable to his own passions. On the other side, Octavian, a cold and calculating young man, saw Caesarion as a threat that needed to be eliminated. He did not see a mere boy but an obstacle to his rise as Caesar's sole legitimate heir. The clash between these worlds, fueled by fragile loyalties and inevitable betrayals, placed Caesarion at the center of a whirlwind of power and ambition. His life, so full of promise, was tragically turned into a sacrifice for a new order emerging under Roman control. The death of Julius Caesar was the event that shattered Caesarion's world and plunged him into a chaos he was too young to fully comprehend. Without the support of one of history's most powerful men, Caesarion and Cleopatra lived under constant threat. Caesar was the bridge between Rome and Egypt, and his absence destabilized fragile alliances, making Caesarion a direct target. Initially, Cleopatra sought to protect her son by reaffirming his legitimacy as Caesar's heir and promoting him as the future unifier of the two empires. For Caesarion, a boy surrounded by pressures he could barely understand, the weight of these expectations drew him closer to his mother's protection and strategies. But danger quickly materialized. Octavian, Caesar's grandnephew and designated political heir, began consolidating power in Rome. Viewing Caesarion as a direct threat to his position, he declared war on Egypt, leveraging political alliances and military force. Meanwhile, Caesarion faced the challenge of living as a symbol of power he never chose to be. The war, however, was more than battles fought on the fields of Actium. It was a psychological game that tested not just military strength but the emotional resilience of all involved. The young prince was forced to grow up quickly, confronting doubts about his role in the world and his ability to survive. Externally, Caesarion was thrust into a political and strategic war he had no control over. Octavian's forces, well-organized and relentless, began dismantling any hope of Egyptian resistance. Internally, Caesarion faced a more subtle yet equally devastating struggle: the fear of failing as an heir, the pressure of being the last hope of his dynasty, and the pain of witnessing the collapse of everything he knew. His innocence gradually gave way to a bitter understanding of what it meant to be the heir of Caesar and Cleopatra in a world governed by intrigue and betrayal. As events unfolded, Caesarion was forced to make decisions that shaped his character and sealed his fate. Cleopatra, in a final effort to secure his safety, attempted to send him away from Alexandria, but this act only highlighted the hopelessness of their situation. His ties to his mother and Mark Antony, once pillars of his security, began to crumble under Octavian's unrelenting pressure. Cleopatra's loyalty and love for Caesarion were never in doubt, but her choices, risky alliances, and desperate decisions only isolated the young prince further. In a world where every step seemed like a trap, Caesarion had to decide whether to trust his mother's survival instincts or seek his own path, a decision that ultimately proved unable to save his life. The final confrontation led to Caesarion's execution, ordered by Octavian, marking the definitive end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and Egypt's transformation into a Roman province. His death symbolized the triumph of political pragmatism over lineage and dynastic legacy, consolidating Octavian's power as Augustus, Rome's first emperor. Though too young to fully grasp the impact of his existence, Caesarion's story serves as a lesson in the fragility of inherited power and the devastating cost of being a symbol amid unrestrained ambitions. The fall of Caesarion and his mother, Cleopatra, not only altered the course of Egypt's history but also redefined power dynamics in the Mediterranean, ending centuries of pharaonic sovereignty and paving the way for Rome's imperial zenith.